The moment my parents returned from their luxury trip without my adopted daughter, until one move from me sent their perfect family crashing down. My name is Claire, I'm 34, and I work as a financial analyst. Normally, I'm a calm and logical person. I deal with numbers all day after all. But today I'm sitting here shaking with anger as I type this, because my parents just did something so cruel, so unbelievably heartless, that I don't even know how to process it. They took my biological sons on a luxury vacation and left my adopted daughter behind, and the worst part is they didn't even try to hide why. She's not really family, my mom said, and I let it happen. I know how that sounds, believe me, I hate myself for it, but before you judge me, let me explain. I never should have agreed. I never should have stood on that porch gripping my 6-year-old daughter Mia's tiny hand while my parents loaded their suitcases into the Uber. I should have fought harder, screamed louder, done anything but just stand there. Instead, I watched as my sons Aiden and Lucas jumped up and down, their voices shrill with excitement. "Grandpa, are we really staying in the overwater bungalows?" Aiden tugged at my dad's sleeve, his eyes wide with excitement. My dad laughed, ruffling his hair. "Of course, kiddo, only the best for my grandsons." He glanced at me then, his face unreadable. But I wasn't laughing because Mia wasn't jumping, she wasn't asking questions, she wasn't packing a suitcase full of swimsuits and sunscreen. She was being left behind. I had known about it in advance. "It's going to be a special trip," my mom had said a few weeks ago over lunch. "We want to spend some quality family time." I put my fork down, "Then take Mia too." She barely even hesitated. "Oh, honey, you know what I mean. The boys. They're real family." My stomach twisted. "Mom, she is my daughter," she sighed, taking a slow sip of her iced tea. "It's not the same." I wanted to throw that glass against the wall. I remember the day I adopted Mia 2 years ago. She was 4. Small, quiet, gripping my hand in the courtroom as the judge read the final decision. I looked down at her and knew with every fiber of my being that this was my child. Afterward, we went out for a family dinner to celebrate. My dad raised his glass, then hesitated. "Well, I hope you don't regret this." "Dad, I'm just saying," he shrugged. "It's a big responsibility. You could have had another child of your own." My mom placed a hand on his wrist, a silent warning. Across the table, my sister looked down at her phone, uncomfortable but unwilling to step in. That's when I knew Mia would never be one of us in their eyes. And now they were proving it. I did try to say no at first. "If Mia's not going, then neither are the boys," I told them when they first brought it up. But then I saw Aiden and Lucas's faces, the way they buzzed with excitement over ocean waves, pirate ships, coral reefs. They didn't understand what was happening. They had no idea why their sister wasn't invited. And Mia saw that too. That night, as I tucked her into bed, she whispered, "It's okay, Mommy. I don't want my brothers to miss their adventure." 6 years old. She was 6 years old and she already knew what it was like to be unwanted. So I let them go. I told myself it was for my sons, that they shouldn't have to suffer because of my parents' cruelty. But as I stood in the driveway holding Mia's small hand while my boys jumped into the Uber, I felt like the worst mother in the world. "Mommy, why didn't they take me?" Her voice was barely above a whisper. I wanted to tell her the truth, that some people are just cruel, that to them blood matters more than love, that they don't understand what real family means. But instead I just pulled her into my arms and said, "They'll regret this, baby." I didn't yell. I didn't try to stop them. I just stayed silent. But when they came back, their perfect little family wouldn't be so perfect anymore. The house felt too quiet. Normally, Aiden and Lucas would be running around, filling the space with noise, arguing over which movie to watch or begging me for snacks they didn't need. But now it was just Mia and me. She sat on the couch, her tiny hands wrapped around a stuffed bunny, staring at the floor. I sat beside her, unsure what to say. Finally, I reached for the remote. "Want to watch something, baby?" She shrugged. "Maybe later." God, it hurt. I swallowed the lump in my throat and pulled out my phone. The family group chat was already blowing up with messages. "Mom, first day in paradise. The boys are having a blast. Look at them." A photo popped up of Aiden and Lucas grinning on a beach, golden sand stretching behind them, turquoise waves rolling in. "Dad, you should have come, Claire. The view is breathtaking." Then another message from Mom. "Mia's okay, right? She understands, doesn't she?" I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. "Understands that you left her behind like an afterthought, that she had to watch her brothers drive away while she stood there pretending not to care?" "Yeah, she understands just fine." I locked my phone before I said something I'd regret, but regret was already clawing at my chest. I let this happen. I let them take my boys, let them frame this as a special trip while Mia got nothing. I looked at Mia again, sitting so still, so unlike her usual self. I needed to fix this. That night I made pancakes for dinner, Mia's favorite. Usually she'd giggle as I flipped them, clapping when I tossed one too high. But tonight she barely picked at her plate. Halfway through she finally spoke. "Do you think they're having fun?" I swallowed. "Yeah, baby, I think so." She nodded quietly, then asked, "Do you think they miss me?" I set my fork down, my throat burned. "Of course they do. They love you so much." She looked up at me, her big brown eyes soft. "But not Grandma and Grandpa." I opened my mouth, but what could I say that she was wrong, that they loved her too? She wasn't stupid. Instead, I stood up, walked around the table, and knelt beside her chair. "Mia, listen to me. None of this is your fault, okay? You are perfect, you are loved, and if they can't see that, then that's on them, not you." She studied me carefully as if deciding whether to believe me. Finally, she gave a tiny nod. "Okay." But I knew she didn't believe me. Not yet. The next morning, I woke up to a flood of new texts. "Mom, jet ski today. Aiden is fearless. Dad, Lucas said this is the best trip of his life. Wish you were here, Claire. Mom, Mia's okay, right?" The audacity. I turned off my phone, but the rage sat heavy in my chest. They really thought this was fine, that I'd just sit here, accept it, smile when they got back, and let them play happy family again. They had no idea. I took a deep breath and turned to Mia, who was still curled up in bed. "Hey baby, how about we go on our own adventure today?" She blinked up at me. "What kind of adventure?" I grinned. "Water park, shopping, ice cream, and anything else you want." For the first time in days, her face lit up. "Really? Really?" And just like that, the sadness in her eyes faded, replaced by something else. Hope. We spent the whole day at Mia's favorite water park. She shrieked with laughter as we slid down the biggest slides together, her tiny hands gripping mine. We raced in the lazy river, splashed around, and for the first time since my parents left, she was just a happy little girl again. Afterwards, we hit the mall. I let her pick out new outfits, a sparkly pair of sandals, and even a ridiculous pink hat she insisted was necessary. She twirled in front of the mirror, giggling. "It's a princess day." I snapped a picture of her striking a dramatic pose in her new dress and sent it to the family group chat. Silence. A few minutes later, a response from Mom. "Wow, you're really spoiling her." I smirked. Of course she deserves it. And another photo, this time of Mia holding a triple scoop ice cream cone, her face absolutely covered in chocolate. Me, she's having the time of her life. More silence. Then Dad, "Looks like fun. Just don't go overboard." "Overboard? You took 2 of my kids on a 5-star vacation and left the 3rd one behind, but I'm the one going overboard?" I locked my phone and smiled down at Mia, who was happily licking her ice cream. They had no idea I was just getting started. For years, I told myself we were a team. I worked full-time, paid the mortgage, covered the bills, and made sure there was always food in the fridge. In return, my parents watched the kids while I worked. It wasn't a perfect system, but it functioned. At least that's what I made myself believe. But after this, after they left Mia behind without a second thought, after they sent me pictures of their perfect family vacation expecting me to just smile and nod, I finally saw the truth. We weren't a team. I was their free meal ticket, and they were leeches. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling while Mia slept beside me, curled up with her stuffed bunny. I couldn't stop thinking about everything I had ignored for years, the way my mom always had an excuse when it came to watching Mia, but never missed Aiden's soccer games. The way my dad always forgot to pick up groceries when it was his turn, knowing I'd just do it. The way they casually let me cover every bill in the house, acting as if it was just my responsibility to keep everything running. I had let them get too comfortable. I had let them think they were entitled to my money, my time, my effort. Not anymore. The next morning, I woke up to another text. "Mom, oh, and Claire, when we get back, we should talk about Mia's school situation. Maybe she'd do better in a place with kids more like her." I gripped my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. More like her. She meant not Aiden and Lucas. Not family. That was it. That was the moment something inside me snapped. I had let this go on long enough. I spent the next few days putting everything in motion. First, I found a new place. I had been considering moving for a while, but now I wasn't considering, I was doing. A smaller place, perfect for me and the 3 kids. No more carrying my parents like dead weight. Then the bank, I checked my savings. I had more than enough to live comfortably without funding two fully grown adults who refused to take care of themselves. And finally, I made my decision. When they got back, they'd walk into the house expecting everything to be the same, but this time they'd be on their own. No more paid mortgage, no more free groceries, no more just cover the utility for us, sweetie. If they wanted their nice, easy life, they'd have to pay for it themselves. The night before their return, my phone rang. Mom, then again, then again. Finally a text, Claire, call me, this is important. I smirked and set my phone down. For the first time in years, they could wait for me. The day my parents came home, the house was silent. No smell of fresh groceries, no restocked fridge, no paid-up bills waiting on the counter, no warm, comfortable home where they could sit back and relax while I handled everything. For the first time in years, they were on their own, and they had no idea what was coming. I heard the front door swing open, then my mom's voice. Claire, we're home! I stayed seated at the kitchen table, sipping my coffee. I wasn't rushing to greet them. I wasn't unpacking their bags. I wasn't their maid anymore. A moment later, they appeared in the doorway, suitcases in hand, sun-kissed from their luxurious trip. Mom smiled, but something about her expression was off, like she already sensed something wasn't right. Where are the boys? She asked, setting down her purse. Still at school. I took another sip of coffee, and Mia's in her room. She nodded slowly, then looked around. It feels empty in here. Dad frowned. Why is the fridge so bare? He pulled it open, expecting the usual fully stocked shelves. Instead, there were just a few leftovers from the night before. Mom glanced at me. Did you forget to go grocery shopping? I let the silence drag for just a moment, then leaned back and said, No, I didn't forget. I just don't live here anymore. The color drained from her face. What? Dad let out a dry laugh. What do you mean you don't live here? This is your house. I smiled, enjoying this. No, Dad, this is your house, and from now on you get to take care of it. Silence. Mom's eyes darted between me and Dad like she was waiting for someone to tell her this was a joke. Claire, honey, what are you talking about? I folded my arms, letting the moment sink in. I moved out last week. I found a great new place. Just me, Aiden, Lucas, and Mia. Mom's lips parted, but no words came out. She blinked rapidly, processing. Wait. Dad's voice was slow, calculating. You moved out without telling us? I shrugged. You were busy on vacation. Besides, I figured it wasn't a big deal. I mean, you two always act like you're the heads of this house, so now you can actually run it yourselves. Mom let out a nervous laugh, reaching for her purse. All right, fine, Claire, you had your fun. Now let's just... I stopped her cold. The mortgage is due next week, by the way. Her hand froze. Dad's expression darkened. What? And the utility bills should be arriving any day now, I continued, tapping my fingers on the table. Oh, and I canceled the grocery deliveries. But you guys have cars, so you'll figure it out. Mom's face contorted. Claire, you're being ridiculous. How can you, I cut her off. How can you live here without me paying for everything? Without me covering the bills while you spent my money on vacations? Without me feeding you like 2 extra kids I never asked for? The words hit them hard. Dad's jaw clenched. Mom looked genuinely shaken. Good, sweetheart, she said softly, switching tactics. We've always been a family. Families help each other. I let out a sharp laugh. You mean like how you helped me feel like an outsider? Like how you helped yourselves to my money while acting like you were doing me a favor? She had no answer for that. Dad rubbed his temples. Claire, let's not overreact. We can work something out. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, you mean you can work something out? Because I already have. I let the silence hang before delivering the final blow. You wanted your perfect little life without Mia in it. Well, congratulations. You got it. Now enjoy it. And with that, I grabbed my keys and walked out, leaving them in their perfect little world, one where they would finally have to pay for it themselves. The first sign of panic came just 3 days later. Mom called 6 times in a row, then Dad, then a string of texts, each one getting progressively more desperate. Mom, Claire, we need to talk. Call me back. Mom, the mortgage is due in a few days. You forgot to transfer the money. Dad, why is the electricity bill so high? Are you still paying for this or not? Mom, Claire, answer me. I leaned back in my chair, sipping my coffee as I read the messages. No, I hadn't forgotten to transfer the money. I had just stopped. For the first time in years, they were seeing the numbers on the bills without my money covering it up. They were feeling the weight of responsibility without my paycheck to cushion them. And they were struggling. Good. By the end of the week, the situation escalated. Mom finally got me on the phone. Her voice was sugar-coated at first, trying to sound composed. Sweetheart, I think there's been a little misunderstanding. I let her talk. Your father and I assumed you'd still be contributing to the house. She let out a light laugh, as if this was all some silly miscommunication. We're a family, Claire. We help each other. Ah, there it was. The manipulation, the guilt trip, the expectation that I'd just fold and take care of them like always. I smiled to myself. Oh, don't worry, Mom. I am helping. I'm helping you become financially independent. Silence. Then her voice tightened. Claire, don't be ridiculous. I was done playing nice. You wanted your real family trip without Mia? Fine. Now you get your real family financial independence too. Enjoy it. I hung up, and for the first time in years I felt free. The next few weeks were glorious. No more stress about paying for a house I barely lived in. No more grocery shopping for two grown adults who acted like I owed them. No more feeling trapped in a dynamic where I was the only responsible one. And the best part, Mia thrived. Without my parents' constant passive-aggressive comments, she smiled more, she talked more, she finally felt safe. One night as I tucked her into bed, she whispered, I like our new home, Mommy. I kissed her forehead. Me too, baby. She hesitated. Are Grandma and Grandpa mad at us? I stroked her hair. They're just learning how to take care of themselves, something they should have done a long time ago. Mia nodded sleepily. Good, because I don't want to feel like I don't belong anymore. That was it. That was everything. And that was when I knew there was no going back. But of course my parents weren't the type to suffer in silence. When guilt-tripping me didn't work, they turned to other family members. First it was my aunt, Aunt Linda. Hey sweetie, your mom is really struggling. Maybe you should help her out just a little. Then my cousin Melissa. I don't want to get in the middle, but your dad is worried about bills. He says they didn't realize how expensive things were without your help. I almost laughed. Oh, they realize now. I responded the same to all of them. They're adults. They'll figure it out. Then came the real moment of desperation. They showed up at my door. It was a Saturday afternoon. Mia was watching a movie and I was sipping tea, enjoying the peace of my new home, when suddenly, bang, 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 the knocking was furious. I already knew who it was. I opened the door slowly. There they stood, my mom with fake tears in her eyes, my dad looking humiliated but too stubborn to admit it. Claire, Mom breathed out, as if she had just run a marathon. We need to talk. I leaned against the door frame. Oh? About what? Dad cleared his throat. We need some financial support, just for a little while. There it was. I tilted my head. I thought you two were fine. You were just in paradise a month ago, right? Mom flushed. Claire, please. We can't cover everything right now. You know how expensive the mortgage is. I crossed my arms. You mean the mortgage I paid for 4 years while you enjoyed your stress-free life? Dad's jaw tightened. We supported you by watching the kids. I let out a short, cold laugh. Oh, you mean the kids you picked favorites with? The ones you decided were real family and not real family? Yeah, great parenting there. Mom finally snapped. Claire, you're being cruel. We're your parents. I took a deep breath and let it all out. No, Mom, you're cruel. You made Mia feel unwanted. You treated my sons like trophies while treating her like a burden. You took my money and never appreciated what I did for you. You used me. And now that I'm gone, you're panicking because you realize just how easy you had it. She opened her mouth, then closed it, because she knew I was right. Dad finally sighed. So, that's it then? I shrugged. I don't owe you anything. If you want to keep your house, you'll figure it out. Mom's face twisted. And what about the kids? Are you just going to keep them away from us? I leveled her with a stare. That depends. Are you going to start treating all of them like family? Silence. She had no answer. I gave them one last look. I think we're done here. And then I closed the door. This time I didn't feel guilty at all. 1 year later, life was peaceful. Mia flourished. Aiden and Lucas never questioned the change, because deep down even they had started noticing how Grandma and Grandpa played favorites. My parents had to sell the house. They moved into a smaller place, finally learning how to live within their means. They still sent messages occasionally, testing the waters, but I kept my distance. Because I had finally learned something too. Family isn't about blood. It's about love, and love was something my parents had never really understood.